Most traders do not realize this, but strategy switching is one of the biggest things holding them back from ever becoming consistent. And I am not talking about switching once or twice while you are learning. I am talking about that constant loop where you are always chasing something new. A new indicator, a new strategy, a new time frame, a new mentor, a new secret that you believe is finally going to fix everything. If you have ever looked back at your trading journey and thought, how have I tried so many different approaches already? Then this is for you. Because every trader goes through this phase. I went through it. The traders in my community went through it. Even my mentor went through it before he ever became profitable. This is not a beginner problem, it is a psychological problem that shows up at every level, and here is the dangerous part. When you are switching strategies all the time, it feels logical. It feels responsible, it feels like progress. You tell yourself that you are learning, that you are adapting, that you are getting smarter. You convince yourself that the reason you are not consistent yet is because you have not found the right approach, so you keep searching. You tell yourself, maybe this new strategy will finally work. Maybe this indicator will give me cleaner entries. Maybe this educator actually knows the real secrets. Maybe I just need to trade like that other guy. And every time you think that, it feels hopeful. It feels productive. It feels like you are doing something instead of being stuck. But the truth is much simpler and much harder to accept. You are not switching strategies because your strategy is bad. You are switching strategies because you are uncomfortable. The strategy is not the real problem. Your psychology is. I want to walk you through why traders switch strategies so often, not from a technical point of view, but from a psychological one. Because once you understand what is actually happening in your mind, everything starts to make sense. I also want to share stories from traders I have worked with, people who were stuck in this loop for months or even years, until they finally realized what was really going on. And I want to share what my mentor told me when I was doing the exact same thing, chasing strategy after strategy, thinking the next one was going to save me. So let us get into it. One of the first traders I ever saw struggle with strategy switching was a guy named Marcus. He was a good guy, smart, motivated, excited about trading. When he joined my community, he had already tried about 6 different approaches: price action, indicators, reversal strategies, support and resistance, a moving average crossover system, even some ICT concepts. Every time he started something new, he said the same thing with full confidence. I think this is the one. Then, about 2 weeks later, the tone would change. Bro, I do not think this works in today's market. I think I need something more accurate. Or, this strategy is good, but I think I found something better. And he meant it. He genuinely believed he was leveling up. He believed he was refining his edge. He was not. He was just uncomfortable with losing. One day I told him something very direct. You do not need a better strategy. You need to master one strategy. But you keep leaving before mastery ever has a chance to happen. That sentence applies to more traders than most people want to admit. You are not switching because the strategy is broken. You are switching because the strategy demands emotional control you have not developed yet. If you really think about it, every strategy produces losses. Every strategy has drawdowns. Every strategy has bad weeks. And when you are newer, those moments feel like proof that the strategy is failing you, when in reality, you are failing the process. Here is something most traders never notice. Strategy switching almost never happens after a massive account blow-up. It happens after small discomfort. A couple of losses in a row, a slow week, a session where nothing sets up, a moment where you are sitting in front of the charts thinking, is this really how trading is supposed to feel? That moment is dangerous, because doubt does not arrive loudly, it arrives quietly, it whispers, it starts suggesting things. You begin questioning decisions you were confident in just days ago. You start scrolling through social media, you start watching videos, you start reading comments, you start looking for reassurance outside of yourself, and slowly your conviction starts leaking away. Not because the strategy stopped working, but because you stopped trusting yourself to sit through uncertainty. This is where most traders get trapped. They confuse discomfort with danger. They feel uneasy, and instead of accepting that feeling as part of trading, they interpret it as a warning sign. They think the market is telling them something is wrong. But the market is not talking. Your emotions are. And emotions are very convincing liars. They tell you that you are wasting time, They tell you that this should not feel this hard. They tell you that other people are progressing faster than you, so you react. You do not sit with the discomfort long enough to understand it. You do not ask why it feels uncomfortable. You ask how to make it stop. And strategy switching feels like the solution. That is why switching strategies feels good at first. It gives you hope. It gives you novelty. It gives you the illusion of progress. It feels like control, but it is fake control. It is avoidance disguised as improvement. When you adopt a new strategy, you reset your expectations. You forgive yourself for past mistakes. You tell yourself that this time will be different, and emotionally that feels relieving. That is why the first few days of a new strategy almost always feel lighter. You have not attached pain to it yet. But the moment that strategy produces the same discomfort, the same uncertainty, the same drawdown, the cycle starts again. That is the loop. And the scary part is that you can stay in that loop for years without realizing that you are not actually learning anything. You are just restarting over and over again. Every time you switch strategies, you choose short-term emotional relief over long-term skill development. And trading punishes that choice every single time. Skill does not come from variety. Skill comes from repetition. And repetition only works if you stay in one place long enough to recognize patterns. You cannot understand behavior in something you keep abandoning. This is why so many traders say, "I know this strategy works, I just cannot execute it." That sentence alone tells you everything. The problem is not knowledge. The problem is emotional tolerance. Execution breaks down when emotions overwhelm structure, and structure only becomes calming when it is familiar. Familiarity only comes from time. Time only comes from commitment. This is why strategy switching keeps traders emotionally fragile. They never build trust with anything, not the strategy, not the process, and most importantly, not themselves. Let me tell you another story, this one personal. There was a period early in my trading journey where I was switching strategies constantly. I would lose 2 trades and immediately assume something was wrong. I would feel frustrated, anxious, like the market was against me, and I would start searching for a new strategy that made me feel safe again. It was an addiction, not to winning, but to avoiding discomfort. One day my mentor asked me a question that stopped me completely. Why do you think the next strategy will fix your emotions? That question hit hard, because my emotions followed me into every strategy I traded. Just like they do for most traders, I was looking for a strategy that removed discomfort. But discomfort is part of trading. Uncertainty is part of trading. Losses are part of trading. There is no method that removes those things, and until you accept that, you will keep switching forever. Another trader in my community, Alina, struggled with this for almost a year. She was obsessed with perfect entries. And by perfect, she meant no losses. If she took 2 losing trades in a week, she panicked. She would message me saying she needed something that did not get faked out, something with more confirmation, something with a higher win rate. And I kept telling her the same thing. No strategy wins all the time. Stop trying to outsmart reality. But she could not hear it yet. She just wanted the pain to stop. She eventually back-tested a strategy with a solid win rate and impressive yearly returns. She was excited. She thought she had finally found it. Then she traded it live. Day 1 was a loss. Day 2 was another loss. Day 3 she skipped a valid setup out of fear. Day 4 she entered late. Day 5 she gave up on the strategy completely. 5 days. I told her bluntly, "You are not searching for a strategy. You are searching for emotional certainty. And that does not exist." That was the moment it finally clicked for her. Because here is the truth. Traders do not switch strategies because strategies fail. They switch strategies because emotions become uncomfortable. Losses scare you. Waiting bores you. Choppy markets shake your confidence. Other people's wins make you impatient. You feel like you are falling behind. You want progress to happen faster, so you switch, hoping the next strategy will remove emotions you do not want to feel. But emotions in trading are unavoidable. My mentor once told me something that changed everything. You do not rise to the level of your strategy. You fall to the level of your emotional discipline. That sentence explains almost all strategy switching. There was another trader named Tyler, one of the most talented analysts I have ever met. He could read price action better than most educators online, but emotionally, he had no patience. He would trade a strategy for 2 days, take one loss, and immediately start searching for something new. He once told me that he just could not find a strategy that fit his personality. I told him the truth. You have not stayed with any strategy long enough for it to fit you. Your strategy does not have a personality. You build that through consistency, repetition, and understanding. Every strategy feels bad until you master it. Every system feels random until you become consistent. Switching keeps you stuck in beginner mode forever. Eventually, Tyler slowed down. He picked one simple approach and committed to it for 3 months. The strategy did not change. His mind did. And that is the turning point. Strategy switching is not a strategy problem. It is an emotional regulation problem. You do not need more tools. You do not need more confirmations. You do not need more opinions. You need fewer voices, fewer changes, and more patience with yourself. Trading does not reward the smartest strategy. It rewards the calmest mind. You do not need the perfect strategy. You need to become the trader who can handle discomfort, uncertainty, and losses without running. And when you do that, something shifts. You stop searching outward. You start building inward. You stop restarting. You start mastering. This is trader's mental edge, and the journey starts within.